Yeah, what we see now, I mean, I studied together with my PhDs and with other colleagues, many conversations in many contexts between stakeholders from different backgrounds about climate change, about healthy farming, sustainability, and all these kind of things. And what you can see then is that there are quite some patterns in these conversations. People tend to reproduce their existing opinions, etc. They tend to mainly communicate with people who think in the same way. And we are not so constructive in talking with people who think differently, because instead of being curious and looking for additional, maybe useful perspectives, we immediately tend to convince others. The other party is doing the same. And as a result, that's what we see in most of these kind of conversations. The differences, they gradually become fault lines, and the relationships, in many cases, they worsen instead of that people come nearer to each other. And that's sad, I think. So this apparently unimportant conversations, they have a lot of impact altogether on each other and also to the developments of tomorrow. So that makes me passionate about improving these conversations and, let's say, changing them to what we call a dialogue between people who think differently, but who do not try to convince each other. A dialogue is never about winning, but trying to understand each other, trying to explore underlying assumptions, norms, concerns of people, and see how we can understand each other at least, and maybe also find a little consensus overlapping to make a joint next step. Talking about everyday conversations for change, that's not very common, whereas I think they have a big impact. I mean, I learned from an African philosopher. He said, you in the West, you are so preoccupied with truth. So you have truth, so you also have this disinformation. And of course, we have facts. I mean, the fact is that it's raining cats and dogs now here in the Netherlands. You can call it a fact. But in many cases, the fact in itself is in many cases not that interesting, because we don't have conflict about this fact. But we do have conflict about valuing the fact in a specific way. So the farmers will say, oh, great for the rain, thank you so much. And others will have a different kind of view. And I think we should realize that also we as scientists, in most cases, we don't talk about facts, we talk about values. And I think that's what values in terms of what does it mean for you, for me, and what should we do then? Mm-hmm. And that's why we should have, I think, the conversations, because otherwise we come, and that's what you see often in what we call fact wars. I have my facts, you have yours. Well, we can struggle for the rest of our lives about that and fight. So the African philosopher told me, so get rid of that idea of truth, but talk about perspectives, because we only have one truth. So we have to fight that. Whereas we have numerous perspectives. And when you explore perspectives, literally standpoints, then you understand why people have specific standpoints. And then you can have a conversation in which you respect not only standpoints, but also that people have to feel safe in the conversation. So I think when you are aware of these kinds of patterns and dynamics, you can have conversations that are much more respectful, that give starting points for common action. How can we combine perspectives for action? What do you need for taking away your concerns for action? And not every disagreement we can solve, of course, but when we can bring disagreement to a respectful disagreeing, that's a step forward. So, if my legacy would be that I can contribute a little bit to the development of dialogue skills, I would be very happy. We do not have that much things we can do, but we can have better conversations. So why not focusing a little bit more on that? It's something we can improve, and that makes me optimistic.